This is Social Intervention. Welcome back. What the fuck's going on in Iran? What's going on in Iran, guys? Why is it looking so crazy out there? What can someone please enlighten me and as to why there is so much going on right now in the Middle East? Well, I'll tell you what it is, right? We got a bunch of Iranian people. It's not working out. It is what it is. People die. You just gotta live with it. Um, yeah, you know, we're gonna lay that shit out right now because that shit starts to do, the staticking and all that, and I ain't fucking with that shit. As crazy as it is, I ain't fucking with that shit. Space theories that will give you an existential crisis. Let's take a look. The dark forest theory. Every civilization hides in silence because broadcasting your existence is an invitation to be destroyed. The universe isn't empty, it's full of hunters waiting in the dark. The simulation hypothesis. Simulated universes would vastly outnumber real ones, making it statistically likely we're living in one. Interesting. The scary part, however, is running it can turn it off. The fuck are we talking about? See, this is the kind of shit that I'm saying, right? They throw this shit in our faces and expect us to figure it out. That's like throwing Egyptian code at me. I don't know what the fuck they saying. Next. Boltzmann brains. In infinite time, random quantum fluctuates and can assemble a fully conscious brain with false memories of an entire life. Statistically, that's more likely than you being a product of real evolution. I feel like I was just insulted. You know what I mean? Moving on. The Great Filter. The Fermi paradox asks, where is everyone? One grim answer is that Sorry, I had a brain fart. One grim answer is that some catastrophic event, a filter, wipes out nearly all intelligent life. The terrifying part, we might not have passed it yet. Awesome. I love this information. Moving on. Heat death in a... There goes my damn light. Can't even have a damn... like, I am so... These lights, right? I know this turned into a whole freaking, like, review on a damn light, but I gotta get this out. These lights are nice, and they're good. I'm not gonna say where I got them from, but I will say this. They suck. They're nice, but they suck. All right? They're okay, but I wouldn't buy them again. Next. Anyways, that's it. That was it. That's it. That's the end of it. No, it's not the end of it. What has been going on this week, man? I don't even pay attention to the news anymore. I really don't. The news to me is so filtered and so, I feel so crazy in this shit. This is like I've been losing a lot of weight, guys, and I don't understand it. I don't mind it, but it does make me feel a bit, a little. And then this fucking chair is so loud. I know you guys hear this shit.
Found the way to cool off the entire planet. So there's a professor from Purdue University that has now helped create the whitest paint ever made. It reflects almost all sunlight instead of absorbing it. This means that any surfaces that are coated in this paint stay noticeably cooler. That part alone isn't even the crazy part of the story. Somebody took that paint and they ran a hypothetical experiment, and they found that if you coated just 1% of the Earth's surface with it, the math suggests that it would actually cool off the entire planet. 1% of the Earth's surface sounds incredibly small until until you realize that that would require 139 billion gallons of this white paint. At this type of scale, you're not even talking about just buildings and rooftops anymore. You're talking about entireties of land, infrastructure, deserts, and cities. Dude, this idea has so many different people split directly in the middle on opinions, because on one side you have scientists calling it a clever example of geoengineering, obviously reflecting sunlight away from the planet instead of trapping heat for climate change. And then on the other side, people are saying that it crosses a line because once you start painting the earth for climate change, you're not just solving climate change, you're controlling the planet. I really want to know that if this actually worked out and we had an option to do it, would we actually do it?
Yeah, absolutely. Why not? I would, right? Because this can solve a lot of problems. Who is to say that this wasn't the way in the first place, right? So you can't sit there and go, you can't judge it. I wouldn't judge it. I wouldn't say, oh, that's wrong because, it's you're controlling the planet. Okay, well, then if we don't, we're all going to be extinct. And I know what's going to come next. Well, isn't that the whole thing of life? Yes, in a way, yes. But it don't have to be that way, right? Think about it for yourself. It don't gotta be that way, so why not try it? Let's give it a try. I am so tired of this chair, I'm telling you. This shit is loud as fuck. I know y'all heard it. I like that guy. He's a good, he's definitely very well versed in a lot of things. He knows a lot. That kid knows a lot. You see, I don't mind this shit. I could do this shit all day. I'll sit here just watching videos all day, listening to fucking whatever the hell they say.
Scientists just made one of the biggest discoveries in centuries because we found non-human DNA. Bro, what? Bro. So deep inside of our human DNA, scientists have been conducting a lot of research and made a groundbreaking discovery. Long story short, it suggests that we may not be the only type of human that once existed. Anunnaki. Researchers began analysing lots of ancient DNA. Bones found in Siberia and other places around the world. They were expecting to find evidence of Neanderthals. Instead, they discovered an entirely different species of humans. Well, that's a plot twist, with scientists naming these Denisovans. But what makes this even crazier is that this DNA didn't just exist in the past, and this further proves what is going on here. By checking this against modern day DNA that we have in our bodies, they are able to cross-reference and find that most of us humans actually have parts of this Denisovan DNA within us, which was never ever thought of before. Some populations in Oceania and Asia actually carry up to 5% Denisovan DNA, which is wild. Meaning, thousands of years ago, it's very plausible that different species of humans existed. Well, it's pretty much guaranteed now. And why is it in our DNA? Well, these different species of humans weren't just living on the same plane, but interacting with each other, having children together. Denisovan humans and us as, Neanderthals or humans, having kids with different species, like a chicken and a dog having a baby, literally. Now, this means the story of humanity isn't just a straight line like we were taught in school. It's more like a family tree with different branches, and scientists now believe there could be several other human species that we have literally yet to discover. And it's not hidden in ancient history or fossils, it's in our DNA. Oh my god, I'll keep you updated.
That's pretty deep, and I think that's true, man. I honestly feel like, in one way, shape, or form, we're all connected to different species of human. Call it a humanoid, call it an alien, call it whatever you want. But I really do feel like we are just a species of this humanoid form that everyone sees. That's all I'm trying to say, right? And then we already got people talking about the different types of alien races out there in the universe. So let's not forget, we got reptilians out there. We got the ones that look like angels, whatever you call them things. We got a lot of shit out there. So it just makes you think. It's all connected in one way or another. Every time I stumble upon a video like this, I always consider all of the possibilities because there is a connection with something. There's always a connection with something. You just have to know where to look. You have to know what you're looking for. So this article written by the New York Post. Tucker Carlson claims CIA read his text with Iran and it's framing him as a foreign agent. You know, I had to stop and really, like, it's a big headline. You know, even if Tucker Carlson claims that this is real and it's true, right? Because this is the New York Post. Who the fuck watch? Like, really, the New York Post. Anyways, we're gonna just move past that part, and we're just gonna address the story, okay? Less the fact that it's coming from the New York Post, right? Tucker Carlson claims CIA read his emails. Probably. The CIA will read everyone's emails. They will read your grandmother's emails. Okay, so there's no, guessing there, right? But if they did and found something that you shouldn't have been doing, well, then that's when that happens. Okay, so now you might be a foreign agent, or it could just be a misunderstanding, or maybe something deeper. Who knows, right? I don't know if Tucker Carlson would be a foreign agent, but if he was, then shit, fooled me. You know what I mean? Because Tucker Carlson, really? But then again, Tucker Carlson. I have no comment to this, honestly. I really don't. I don't know where this is gonna go. You know, it just as far as I'm concerned, it looks like he might have some legal troubles. But other than that, nothing to see here, guys. Shout out to the Post, man, from the New York. I gotta definitely share this one with you because I actually read this article and I seen video, or I saw a portion of a documentary, basically, of someone who had an experience with an alien life. So check it out.
The species of that particular ET was called a quantiloid. It was a insect-like, similar to a praying mantis, 6 foot tall, large. I saw it. It was able to run extremely fast, 20 to 30 miles per hour. We could see by its footprints, its tracks, it was going north. There was a abandoned silver mine in Silver Bowl, which was just outside the base perimeter in the northeast area of Nellis Test Training Range. And it's used as campgrounds for a lot of people. And there was a family camping there. And the husband and father saw something, got out of his vehicle, and he was approached this quantiloid. And the only person that actually saw this was a military policeman, and he was the closest to the perimeter. And he said that the human ran towards the quantiloid, and the quantiloid was still, and then the act of the quantiloid's arm swinging a motion at the human and striking the human with great force. The human died instant. When it then came back towards inside the base perimeter, that's when the military policeman fired his weapon and killed the quantiloid.
Wow. That's all I can say to that one. Wow. Because we just talked about how there's so many different types of species, or at least we believe. And then there is proof, scientific proof, that there are different variances of human. So that's true. Why wouldn't this be true? That's what you got to ask yourself. And then you got to think to yourself, and if that's true, then how many more of those types of things are out there? And if they're out there, are we going, I'm joking, but I don't know. Would you feel hostile towards one of those things if they came running up at you? I mean, I would. But let's just say, for the sake of the argument, let's say it's just a regular day in the neighborhood, right? And you're on your way to your car. You're about to go to work. And as soon as you get out of your house, you're walking down the driveway, and here comes one of those things. Just living his life, though. You're in a time now where aliens are everywhere, and that's what you see on a daily. So what are you gonna do now, right? What if it asks you for sugar? Are you really gonna give it sugar? I don't know, man. Well, I know a bunch of nasty bitches out there would give something sugar, but I ain't talking about that. We talking about just aliens and stuff. Let's keep it moving. What's going on with Attorney General Pam Bondi anyway? I mean, the last time I heard, she was in some deep shit. You know, there was a time where Pluto was a planet, and I was growing up. Pluto was a planet. A couple years went by, Pluto was not a planet. A couple more years went by, now it's a planet again. No one knows anything. That's basically what this is all about. No one knows a damn thing. All right? People trust in NASA like they think NASA knows better. NASA doesn't know any more better than anyone else on this planet. All right? Let's be honest. In case anybody didn't know, right? NASA's not here for everyone. NASA's here for a particular type of person. The funders. What he saw in space. Let's find out.
This NASA astronaut spent 178 days in space. He orbited Earth 2,842 times, and then whenever he came back, he said that humanity is living a lie.
When we see our planet from the perspective of space, certain things become undeniably clear.
This is obviously insane, but this astronaut, Ron Garan, spent 178 days on the International Space Station. He traveled 71 miles, he orbited the planet 2,842 times, and then whenever he looked out the window, he said that something broke inside him. He said that he saw paparazzi-like flashes of lightning storms that were lighting up entire continents, auroras so close that it felt like he could reach out and touch them, and then he saw the atmosphere, obviously the one single layer that's keeping every living thing on the planet alive, and he realized that it was thinner than a piece of paper in comparison to the entire planet. And this is what changed him. He said that from up there, he could see an entire biosphere teeming with life, but he couldn't see a single economy.
I saw an iridescent biosphere teeming with life. I didn't see the economy.
He couldn't obviously see borders, and he couldn't see a war. And what he said hit him is the fact that we treat the planet like it exists to serve the economy when it's the other way around. He called it a lie. Scientists actually have a term for this. It's called the overview effect, which is a psychological shift that happens.
So that right there is a great example of what I mean about a human being being humbled by some experience, either traumatic or, conditional, whatever the fuck, I'm trying to sound smart right here, but give me a shot, bad day. Yeah, man. That's a pretty cool story. I mean, we are in a fragile place, man. People take this shit for granted all the time. We're in a fragile state. Then no one likes to talk about how fragile life really is, right? Because they're afraid of it. They're afraid of, what can happen, right? Because that's how life goes. Life will go like that. And so a lot of people are uncomfortable with that conversation, but not me. I think it's beautiful, man. So when I think about this story, I think about how, one day this might not be here. We take advantage of the time. Telling you, we take advantage of the time. It's not free. People think it's a free game. It's not. But I'm not here to preach. I just like these stories, man. Especially when we're talking about science, man. Because science has a way to really crack the hardest codes. It'll do it. A little bit of science, like that.
Listen up. So a second scientist has been killed on the front porch of his California home. This guy right here, Carl Grillmeyer. He passed away on February the 16th, and he was an astronomer. So just after 6 a.m. Monday, February the 16th, detectives with the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department responded to reports of an assault with a deadly weapon in Llano. On his front porch, they found 67-year-old astrophysicist Carl Grillmeyer suffering from a gunshot wound, and he was pronounced dead at the scene. Now this is strange, but it gets stranger because just a couple of months ago we had another scientist killed, Nuno Philippe. He died on December the 16th. So he dies on the 16th, and then 2 months later, he dies on the 16th of February. Now, Nuno was a plasma specialist and professor at MIT, but they both were two respected scientists versed in planetary catastrophes. And they both were shot 2 months after each other. One on the front porch and then one in his foyer. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I see a pattern. This man was studying asteroids and comets that posed a threat to Earth. And this one was a plasma scientist doing the same kind of work. And remember, we had 3I Atlas that was supposed to be near the Earth in December. And now we have a comet called MAPS. And the comet MAPS is in the constellation Cetus, which is like Leviathan, a sea monster. A suspended NOAA satellite chief warns of threats to federal science program. We also know that Kash Patel just fired a bunch of people in the unit that studies threats in the U.S. So now we have these comets that somewhat pose a threat to Earth, and then 2 scientists die. I don't know, this all gives me the movie Don't Look Up vibes. We pretty much have the same administration that's...
I don't know, man. That shit does sound very suspicious. I'll tell you that right now. That thing that there's a lot going on there. It really is. Do I think there's something sinister behind it though? I don't know. I mean, I did hear about this before. This is not a new article or anything like that, but I do remember there was another article that I'd seen where I guess that the reason why the guy in the desert got shot, the one of the scientists, was because they were trying to steal the car. But when you figure out where he lives, right? Because he lives in the middle of nowhere, literally in the desert. How the fuck do you have a carjacker out there? Furthermore, what kind of fucking car does he got that you need so bad that you're willing to travel through the desert just to get to it? It don't make no sense to me. And then the other motherfuckers, I don't even know. Then this one female scientist disappeared. And she went for a hike and never came back. And she left her phone, which is the weird thing. Matter of fact, both scientists that went on those hikes did the same exact thing. I don't know, guys. I have no idea. I read about this article, and I need you guys to check this out.
This is how Soviet spies would get information from a 19-year-old U.S. Navy sailor. Elicitation is about using statements instead of questions. And I'll give you an example. Let's say you and I walk into Whole Foods, which is, we're in New York, so it's probably a block away somewhere. And we walk in there, and there's, let's say there's a young lady stocking produce. And you get in there, and I say, all right, Stephen, your goal is to go figure out how much she makes in 60 seconds, and you're not allowed to ask any questions or be awkward. And that's tough, right? It sounds really tough. So if you went over to her, and this is a generalization just to get you to understand what elicitation is, and said, hey, I'm trying to find the baby carrots. And she walks you over there, but while you're walking, you say, I just read this article online that says all Whole Foods employees just got bumped up to $26 an hour. That's fantastic. And she turns around and goes, what? No, I make 17. So now she doesn't feel like she or question.
He's right, obviously. When you talk to people, you know, people tend to give out a lot of themselves through the way they talk, the things they say, and even their body language. It tends to give them away a lot really fast, especially if you're very perceptive, you know, about a lot of things. And so he's right. Most times you just got to let someone talk. You'll get the information you want out of them. Well, I'm tired, guys. That's going to do it for me. That was pretty much enough for you guys. See you on the next one.